Hi guys, welcome back to my channel Thrive to Drive. In this episode, my content will be slightly different from my regular S-Class W221 collection. This time I have wavered slightly away, I think towards the golden age of Mercedes vehicles. I have kept the allegiance to the S-Class but have gone back a couple of years to the golden age, and here is a golden W140 I recently bought. I know it's been it's been a long ride with me. I have been going back on my word and promises to myself of not buying any more vehicles practically. But I made another decision now. I got weak in my knees, as all car guys do. I got a great deal and bought a W140 S320. Eventually, you guys are going to find out how bad I am at keeping promises to myself. I have made a couple of deals. There are a couple of surprises for you. We will definitely find out towards the end of the video. But before we get there, I would like to give you a slight history about how I acquired this beautiful piece of history. This W140 was sort of presented to me on my lap. I have a commitment with my W126 and wanted a salvage vehicle to build my 126 completely. I've sold the W126 to a very nice gentleman in Hyderabad. He wanted me to complete the vehicle, and that was what was part of the deal. So I had looked for a salvage vehicle which would have parts which would be usable to me to build the 126. So I headed about 150 kilometers away to a place called Fagwada. So I saw the car there. I was completely disappointed. There was nothing usable on the vehicle. It was a 126, yes, but was a complete hack job, and the interiors were virtually non-existent. So I was very disappointed. Although that place was a workshop, and I met a couple of gentlemen who introduced me to the vehicle. But the person who owned that shop gave me a parting away gift. Seeing how disappointed I was, I asked him if he has some AMG memorabilia, because that shop seemed to be about 30-40 years old at least. So he came out with some extensive car jewelry and showed me a very sad set of 18-inch AMG monoblocks. But it was the happiest time of my life, because as there's a saying, one man's junk is another man's treasure. So I saw treasure in that, picked up those rims for virtually a throwaway price, and they've been currently restored for another build I will tell you about. As soon as I was with of course happy with what I had, happy with the rims, I loaded them up in my Audi A6 I had taken there. They fitted in the boot of the vehicle perfectly. And as soon as I was leaving, I got a call from a very dear friend. He mentioned to me that there were a couple of W124s and sort of specific cars of that era around in the Fagwada, Guraya region. He sent me about 4-5 numbers on my WhatsApp. I tried calling them one by one. So the first number I called, the gentleman said he sold his vehicle. The second number I called, it was slightly towards the evening, and then as soon as I spoke to him, the gentleman sort of recognized me, and I was pleasantly surprised. Yes, he said that I do have a W140 for sale, and seemed to have known me from the past. So as it turned out, he met us on one of our last W126 drives we went to in Ludhiana. He was there with a very beautiful black color W123, which has been in his family for close to, I think, since brand new. The W123 would at least be a 1980, 1978 model, and it's been in their family since that long. With arms wide open, he offered to have me over for some chai, for some coffee, and I gladly went up to him. It was in Guraya. He was about 30, 35, 40 kilometers away. By the time I got to him, it was about 5:30 in the evening. As soon as I reached there, he showed me this beautiful piece of Mercedes history, and I immediately fell in love. I don't especially do clean cars, but as soon as I saw this, I fell in love and paid almost retail value for, and it's absolutely justified for a car of this caliber. He was very generous enough to sit down with me, have a discussion. So I ended up picking up the car for a price of about 6.5 lakhs. I do have to work on the registration of this car to validate it, and at the same time the car required some work. So I gave him an advance and left from there. Then we visited him again. My boys Madhav and Vipul accompanied me for that lovely journey. But being a private property, I wanted to keep his privacy. We did not take too many shots, but Madhav will upload whatever we have out of the stash of videos we were able to make there. The reason why I fell for this particular W140 was that it was absolutely pristine. As you can see, it's got monoblock AMG rims, it's got AMG side skirtings, even the bumpers seem to be slightly thinner. He claimed to me that this car had a complete AMG makeover from the company itself. This car initially belonged to a consulate. It was an embassy vehicle. He bought it and the car had been with him for the past 7 years. He kept meticulous care of this vehicle, but it had some flaws. As far as the front headlight is concerned, and a few things which weren't 100% working inside. So I gave him full payment of the vehicle and picked up the vehicle. The very surprising bit was that I never even took a test drive of the vehicle. Not when I initially went to see the vehicle and not when I paid full money for it. I made the full deposit, whatever amount we had agreed to, and then I took delivery of the vehicle. And as soon as we left, I fell completely in love with the car. The car had such beautiful suspension. To an extent, I can go ahead and say that it is more solid and has a better ride quality than any W221 or any S-Class by far I have driven to date. It is a completely hydraulic setup. It is magic the way the company has been able to do what they have done with the W140. I know they had a budget of allegedly $1 billion, and their best of engineers. At that time, Mercedes was actually building their cars with a lot of love and no constraint to what anybody else was doing. Mercedes started the ball rolling for completely magical cars, and then everybody, BMW and Lexus went ahead and copied their vehicles. But I think the 7 Series and the W140 and the S-Class, of this era, of the early and late 90s, are completely magical. They're the best cars ever made. We now thought of continuing our conversation in this lounge of a vehicle, namely the W140, and we're heading to a secret location which is not so secret. And on the way, I will tell you more about our journey of taking delivery of this vehicle and something which happened afterwards which broke my heart, the reason why we weren't able to make the delivery video properly. So here goes. We were able to endure the journey of traveling in 40 to 45 degrees of pure heat traveling on the highway. I had my driver behind me in a separate car. Me, Madhav and Vipul were in the W140. We loved the ride. The car was floaty. We couldn't feel a thing. The car was very comfortable other than the air conditioning not working. Air conditioning, as you know, is a necessity. Of course, I can't definitely not live without it. I need my air conditioning. So I took a break. I had to stop there in Rajpura to meet a gentleman to talk about some parts I needed for the vehicle and other cars I had to buy from him. I have also gone ahead and bought a part car, W140. Because of this and because of another 140 I have bought. We're just heading to that location to see that car. But out there, as soon as we stopped, I handed him over the car. I told my driver to drive very slowly and properly and reached the shop, which was about 15 kilometers from where we had stopped. I took the keys of my Skoda from him and he set forward on his journey. I was inside negotiating, talking to the gentleman I needed parts and stuff from. And within about 15 minutes, I get a call that the driver has sort of got into a mishap and he had been able to get the car, damaged from the rear left. It was very, very sad news for me. The rear tail light had broken, the bumper had come off, and there was a huge dent on the back of the car. We were then again able to fix it. I was very sad the whole day because this car is completely scratchless. It had no bodywork issues or any other issues as such. The tail light was brand new. A very dear friend from Agra, Mr. Jain, helped me out and sent me a slightly cracked tail light, but at least it was better than having no tail light at the back. We were able to dry dent the dent which was there, fix the bumper, the reinforcement and the brackets from inside had broken. So I was able to fix that the next day, and within about subsequently 2 days, today we're about a week away from the time I had bought the vehicle, bought this W140. So we were able to fix it and I was sort of happy again. Of course, every time I think about it, I am pretty sad, but that's life for you. Nothing goes the way you want it to. Yes. So moving to happier things, we're going to a mechanic friend I've known since about 14-15 years now, since the time I had the W126 and I didn't have the shop. The only sort of guy I trust with my older vehicles other than myself. I trust myself a lot, yes. So we're going to him to check out on my other W140 build. We have a bit of journey left to reach there. So I will tell you a few features of this vehicle. This car is a 1996 model year, one of the later cars. It is an SEL, it is a long wheelbase. This car has automatic climate control, individual for both ends. Sadly, the driver's seat, because this was an embassy car, it was a chauffeur driven vehicle. This doesn't have too many driver aids. But the rear seats are individual, as you can see. And the rear seats have motorized function, are electronic. So both seats can be adjusted electronically. It has double glazed window panes amongst most of the features. But what is best about this vehicle is the absolutely beautiful suspension. It is a modern classic which I'm able to drive every day and with adequate power. This I feel has about 230-ish horsepower, don't quote me on it. And it drives beautifully. It has the 722.3 transmission by Mercedes, absolutely bulletproof, but has only 4 gears, which is no issue in regular driving. This car is not a performance car for me. It is an everyday car. It is a very luxurious car, and I feel this car will be part of my family for times to come. Being from the golden era, this car had every attention to detail. So even the locks on this car go down one by one and are pneumatically vacuum controlled, so that there is no sound in the compartment inside even when you lock and unlock the vehicle. This car has automatically soft closing doors, which I again feel is a great feature. But yes, being a used car and being me, this car had issues. The right side soft close is working, the left side I have to get down to. But for a change, this car virtually came with almost no errors. Considering I buy cars with sometimes the engine apart, sometimes the transmission apart, sometimes the whole interior apart. So it's good that way. I have turned on the key and I'm driving. It's got a beautiful ride. And one thing I really like, and specifically I feel I always take attention to, is the fact that I love cars which have no sunroofs. No sunroofs is a big thing for me. I'll tell you why. One, of course, I feel that the structural integrity of the car stays. I feel that sunroofs and convertibles in general have a certain chassis flex, which is not there in these cars. Secondly, which is the most major thing, is that there is no water damage inside the vehicle. Even if it is parked for years on end, I can assure you that there will be no water, no electrical damage in the vehicle. So I completely detest sunroofs. I do not like cars with sunroofs. My M3 doesn't have a sunroof. My W140 doesn't have a sunroof. My V10 Touareg doesn't have a sunroof. And they're all electronically very stable. They have never given me issues. There is no seal problems. There will never be water seeping in. So that is one great thing as far as this car is concerned. It's got all basic amenities like the airbags, ABS, which is in general with all the vehicles. But I'm amazed at the level of quality and just the attention to detail, considering this is a mid-1990s car.
A few minutes later.
Welcome back to an episode of Kaun Banega Crorepati, and the answer is koi nahi banega because of my bad buying habits. Another project car here. and another money pit to my left, and here's my life, brothers. Jokes apart, to my right is my W140, the other one. This is 300 SDL. This is the kind of cars you're more familiar with as far as I'm concerned. This car has had an engine replacement, so instead of being a 280, which it was, the engine has been replaced to an OM606. A big thumbs up to me, because I love the OM606. It is the 2JZ engine of the diesel world, and Mercedes did a wonderful job of doing a twin cam single turbocharged diesel engine which loves to rev high. This engine was built particularly on the petrol engines of that time, so it mimics the petrol engine very well, very rev happy, and it can take a lot of boost. In stock form, you can easily give this car about 700 Nm and nothing is going to go wrong with the engine at all. This car is here at my friend Mukesh's shop for some tuning up work. As soon as I got it, the diesel was idling very rough and not performing the way it is supposed to. This car on my right has few more features than the left one, surprisingly, as far as the driver's seat comfort is concerned. You can't even imagine that the rear view mirror inside is also electronically motorized controllable. The driver's seat has memory function. Folding mirrors are there on both. So both these cars are very different to suit my lifestyle. This will be a daily driver. I plan to do a 400 horsepower, 600 Nm diesel project on this. I am in the process of ordering a diesel pump from DP UK and do a bigger whole set turbo, so that we can take out as much juice as we can for this daily. It is here for its initial tune-up. I want to just sort out all the issues with it mechanically before I do the project, so that nothing breaks on this. The left, yes, is going to be an heirloom. It is a beautiful car. I don't need to do much, but I've still ordered about 50-60 grand of parts for this at the moment, and then at the same time I have to work on validating the registration. All in all, the cost of this build I would like to keep, again, below 10 lakhs is my golden number, and I want to enjoy this for as long as I can. This car will take in as much money it takes for a 400 horsepower build. As of now, the car has costed me about 4.5 lakhs the way it is. I have already spent about 70,000 of parts, interior trims. I had to even buy a salvage vehicle for parts, which is another 140 I was talking about, to fix this up. The rims itself, other than that, is about 1.5 lakhs. These are the original S63 AMG rims I had on my S600. I sort of like the look on this much more. So this will be my daily driver. I need to change the windshield. As you can see, the corner lights need to be changed. The lower end of the whole vehicle has to be repainted, amongst other things. Interior needs a couple of trims. So all in all, I think this will also go up to about 8.5-9 lakhs, including the about 3.5 lakhs worth of turbo diesel, mechanical diesel pump. This is completely mechanical engine, very reliable. So it needs a mechanical diesel pump from DP UK, which will have a 7.5 mm element, which will give me the required diesel pressure. I don't need to change the nozzles, so it will give me the required diesel pressure to boost the car up to the 400 HP and the 600 Nm of torque I need to drive this car every day. So that's all as far as the W140 pair is concerned. Actually a trio, the third one's in the shop. And yes, I have bought a couple of new vehicles. I make a promise that I will be posting many more videos in times to come. I will try to give you at least one video every 2 weeks, at least 2 videos a month. I have a lot more cars, a lot more content I want to love to share with you guys. I'm in the process of buying another 2-3 cars, and I'd love to show them to you. And stay tuned. Please like and subscribe.